In this day and age, we're constantly getting bombarded with ad after ad, with news after news. Jeffrey Epstein's Island list revealed, and then Donald Trump presidency, and Vivek Ramaswamy, like all of these things. You're getting bombarded with new thing you should be looking at, and your information diet is simply too much. Like, some people, they just constantly binge on junk food. They go to McDonald's, and then they go to Burger King, and then they have fries, and they have chips when they get home. They eat a shit ton of food, but your information diet is just the same way. You simply take in too much information. You go on YouTube, and you see Sunny 2 video. Oh, you won't believe what this rapper did. You see an ad, and then you see news, and then you see, presidency. Like, there are so many things out there that want your attention, and believe me, bro, attention is the single most valuable currency of our time right now, because everything we're doing one way or another is taking away our attention, and therefore, the person who is able to control their attention and their mind will always win. So today, I just want to speak of the dangers of a high information diet and what a low information diet would do to you, and how it would be so much better than constantly feeling down because you've just seen the news and 20 people killed over there and 20 people killed over there. Like, when was the last time you actually saw something positive in the news and you actually felt good about it? Like, never, right? Like, when was the last time you had a scrolling session and you were like, wow, all of this new stuff, all of this new information, and you actually felt rejuvenized and good? Never. And that's because a high information diet doesn't work for anybody, and that a low information diet is the way to win in this modern society. So what I mean by low information diet is that you essentially cut out all of the bullshit information coming into your diet, and that'll basically make you feel a whole lot better, because you can kind of get where I'm going, right? If you're constantly ingesting like bad news, you're inevitably gonna feel kind of bad, right? And your brain is you're gonna have all these negative thoughts swirling around in your brain. You're gonna have, even if they're not negative news, you're gonna have just a bunch of useless shit floating around in your brain, which simply is not gonna help you to be productive. And so that's the main benefit you get from low information diet. Your productivity goes up because you're simply not wasting your brain points or brain energy, however you want to call it, thinking about stupid shit. Like, if you wake up and immediately you grab your phone and you check the news, or you check Instagram, that's like minus 100 productivity right there. If you have 1,000 productivity power, let's say, and immediately you get up and you check the news and there's some shit floating around in your brain, that's immediately minus 100 points. But if you're able to simply only keep the essentials, and what I mean by essentials are I don't watch news. I honestly never watch news, so just kind of stop watching news, but it really doesn't help you that much. Even if it's some super important thing, you'll undoubtedly learn about it from a friend, so you don't have to I'm gonna read the newspapers to see what's going on, because then you'll just feel like ass. What I consume are podcasts and audiobooks. That's it. That's the only thing I consume, and that's what I mean by essentials, things that will actually help you grow, like the news and the latest TikTok trend. All of these things, they're just hindering your performance. They're not going to help you grow in any way. And one thing I've learned in podcasts and audiobooks is that the power to say no is extremely, extremely valuable. And in our modern world, saying no and keeping your attention to yourself are the exact same thing. Being able to say no and say no, instead of putting all of my attention and all of my focus and all of my productivity on what's going on in the outside world and what happened today in some super foreign country that I don't know about. Well, you can actually focus your attention on what matters. You can keep your attention to yourself, because imagine if every day you wasted all of your time consuming bullshit. It would be obvious that then your work would be bullshit and you would feel like shit. That's simply how it is. So honestly, this is pretty straightforward, low info diet. I read this in a book called Deep Work, and I was like, oh yeah, well, this makes sense. If you consume less bullshit, well, you feel less like bullshit. And if you consume positive stuff, if you read positive self-improvement books, if you listen to self-improvement podcasts and audiobooks, all of these things are positive sources of information, and so I highly recommend that you keep those in. Now, I don't mean that you should listen to an audiobook while reading a different book and then you're also watching a different podcast. that's obviously then too much information, and you'll be like dying under all of the self-improvement information you have. Alright, this was pretty straightforward, bro. Just simply don't consume too much bullshit. Like, keep your information diet on the low. Alright, hope this helped you, and I cannot wait to see the progress that you make. Cheers, bro.